I spent more time in Surprise than I normally do, and I thought we had a great camp. A little bit different in that I think, very confident group, I would say. I think about it last year. I think we thought we'd added some tools to the team, and that we had hopes for making the playoffs. I would say that this group expects to be in the postseason, which is a great thing. And tomorrow, so we had a great camp tomorrow, opening day, and while I think about it as it's certainly about baseball, but it's about a lot more than baseball. It's about the best of Kansas City, in my view. It's Greater Kansas City Day, it's Kansas City Appreciation Day, and it's really a celebration of our team and of this great game and our great community. And it's a lot of hoopla tomorrow, but to me, it's one of 162, and eventually we settle in. Baseball becomes the heartbeat of the summer, and if we're lucky, we'll be playing baseball in October. One thing before I turn this back to Sam for Q&A, certainly has been a lot of interest in our stadium process over the last few weeks and days, and I'm really grateful for that there's that much interest and passion and care about, but not just what we do on the field, but this really important process of selecting a new home for the Royals. So I'm grateful for that. I would say that the speculation has been seems to have been heightened in the last few days. I would tell you a couple things about that. Whatever the source of that speculation, it didn't come from us. And when we have something to talk about, we're going to be ready to talk about that. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
John, I wonder, over the course of the offseason, JJ was pretty open about wanting to find a middle-of-the-order bat. That obviously didn't work out. I wonder what your confidence level is in the offense you have right now, and kind of how you saw those negotiations play out over the course of the offseason.
About particularly that quest for a bat, middle-of-the-order bat. Yeah, certainly that was one of the things that we felt would really improve our team, and I think it's been written about. We gave it the old college try here. We went after a couple of people, and I think we expanded the view of investment when we thought about that. But when we didn't get that, I think if you think about, we got a lot of, one of the things JJ's been great about, he's brought some people in around him. Roster construction, I think, is really a strength of JJ's. How do you put together a team capable of getting to the postseason and then ultimately advancing in the postseason? If you think about our team, the back of the bullpen was really the best way that we could add, short of a really, a big bat in the middle of the order. It was really adding to the back of the bullpen. So he shifted gears, and that's when we signed Carlos Estevez. And, if you think about our team, certainly the young core will improve. Jonathan India at the top of the order, I think that's going to be a difference maker. If any of you have been in Surprise, I think our fans are going to love the way this guy plays. He's a competitor. He's a gamer. He wants to win. But then also we have an elite rotation that for the most part is returning. And the bullpen is going to be we have to suit up and play 162, right? But on paper, we should be much stronger, certainly than we were in the first half of the season, and really even with the bullpen that we closed. When you think about Hunter Harvey, Urseg, and Estevez in the back, and then Zerpa's been solid. Jonathan Schreiber. Others, I really feel good about not only our starters that will keep us in the game, but having a group that can help us close out games.
John, you guys were aggressive in signing several players, to lucrative deals this offseason. Will that same aggressiveness be paramount if the team, needs to go out and get over the hump this season?
Repeat the first part of the question.
Just being aggressive, signing several different guys this offseason. Will you continue that?
Last offseason?
Yeah. Will you continue that aggressive mindset?
Yeah, I think we're willing to do what it takes to put a winning team on the field, right? And so our approach this year, we did go out and JJ had some specific objectives. This year, though, it was to stabilize the rotation again. We signed Waka, right out of the blocks. We brought back Michael Lorenzen. Those were two big adds. And then, of course, we had the depth. We'd had enough depth where we could trade a really good player, a good pitcher like Brady Singer to help our team in other ways. So I think that leadoff spot, I think you're going to see a totally different. I mean, if you've been down in spring training, not only is he getting on base, I think he had the fourth most walks in the league last year. I think second lowest chase rate, something like that. But he's given Bobby a better look. Bobby watching Jonathan India hit him is preparing him for his at bat better than we had in the past. So I would say, when you think about payroll. We went after we were willing to spend some money this offseason, right? I think it's been written about, and most of that, I would say most of what was written about was true. But we didn't get it. We didn't get it done. And so then we kind of refocused on making our team better in the way that we thought we could. One thing I would say about JJ, and if you've observed him since he took this job, he is trying to make our team better every single day. And I mean literally every single day. And sometimes it's by a lot, and sometimes it's by a little. And you think about what he did. We made the playoffs by one game. And you think about what he did down the stretch, right? When Vinny got hurt, we get Yuli Gurriel, we signed Tommy Pham, Robbie Grossman, all of those guys. We get him by one game, and all of those guys helped us get there. And you get him by one, you get the opportunity to go to Baltimore and win a series on the road in a hostile environment against a good team. And that changes, I think, the DNA of the team. So that's another thing. So, JJ, I don't really just give JJ a payroll number. I say, look, here are some guidelines, but if there are opportunities to make us better, we're going to be willing to invest in this thing. So that's kind of how we've approached it, I think, the last 2 years, and that's how we'll continue to approach it. And then certainly want to build, think about the opportunity we have here with a superstar like Bobby Witt. This would be the first of his arbitration years, right, Sam, if we hadn't signed him. And so this is a really key period where he's in what would have been his arbitration year, so it's he's performing at an extremely high level. We have cost certainty on those years, and it's cost effective, and really a time we want to surround him with talent to try to do something special for our fans.
John, I realize this is pretty open-ended, but I wonder if you might be able to sum up in some way what you guys need to learn to be able to get more clarity and traction on where you're headed with the stadium process.
What we need to learn?
Yeah. What are the key variables that are in play that you're trying to identify?
I would just say, first off, it's a complicated process, and they all are. You can look around the country, and then we have multiple opportunities on both sides of the state line, and it's just a process. I think I feel really, really good about. I think I have empathy for people that feel like the process isn't clarified, but I feel really, really good about the process. I feel really, really good about the team that we've got on this, both internally and then the outside experts that we've hired. And I feel like we've got really a solid group of potential partners that are trying very hard to do something, and so this is a tough decision for us. But I think that I don't think it's helpful to talk about things in this particular context before we're ready to kind of talk about something that's buttoned up.
And with that, I mean, I may have missed this, but I don't feel like I'm hearing you emphasize a timeline, maybe the way you had in the past. I mean, what would you say about that?
Well, I think we have a stated objective of being able to talk about a specific location. I'm calling it, the middle of the calendar year in that June-July period.
Sam. Yeah, a couple follow-ups on that. You mentioned multiple opportunities on both sides of the state line. Is this spring camp, is Washington Square Park still among those opportunities that you?
I won't comment on those. And again, it's out of respect for the process and our partners. try and to be fair to all of them.
Is it at all a possibility? Do you envision any scenario in which you're playing baseball at Kauffman Stadium after the current lease?
I don't think so. You know, we talked about that. That would be a low cost option. That would be that wouldn't be really solving the long term solution that we need to really sustain ourselves. In my view, you know, to make sure we have a world-class facility for a Major League Baseball franchise that wants to compete at the highest level for the next few decades.
The last one I had on that, but you had mentioned early on just this vision of downtown baseball and potentially revitalizing downtown. I recognize that was what you guys went to the voters with and that they turned it down, but do you still have that same vision? I mean, do you still have the same thoughts about what that could do for downtown Kansas City?
You know, I think that's certainly one of the things that might work. I think we need to make what is the best decision for the team and for the community, and there are variables out there. But I think, you know, more broadly, I would say in a whether it's urban or whether it's, you know, really high density, where we have the opportunity to create, you know, vibrancy and economic activity around it, not just the 81 nights, but 365 days a year.
Bill. Mr. Sherman, you alluded to a minute ago about spending some more time down in Surprise. I was around in '84 when the Royals made it to the playoffs, got swept by the Detroit Tigers, went on and won the World Series. The next year, the Royals had that amazing World Series run. And you could just tell, talking to the guys going into '85, that there was a whole new vibe. It was like, yes, you know, we're only going to be happy with the World Series. Now, I'm not wanting you to predict the World Series, but do you get that vibe when you're talking to Matt and when you're talking to the players like this? This is a year that they really, really feel like they have a shot.
I think it's a group that thinks they think they're capable of winning it all. But you know, there's a lot of things that have to go your way for some. But I mean, I think, you know, we have a stated objective to make this team more competitive on a sustainable and consistent basis, based upon the idea that the more times you get in the tournament, the more opportunities you do have to win a championship, which is the ultimate goal. You know, interestingly, I don't know if this is, maybe Sam, you can check me on this, but I think that we've never not made the playoffs the year after we returned to the playoffs. Is that right? In the history of the franchise, I think it's been always in at least two you know, back-to-back year segments, 14, 15 being the most recent. So we'll see what happens in 24, 25.
Neil, was that your hand that's on?
Yeah. What does winning do for the people's attitude towards you and towards this franchise and the excitement surrounding this franchise?
I'm sorry.
What is winning? You guys invested
winning?
money last year. You guys
Winning?
won last year. How does that change the way people look at y'all?
Yeah, winning is why we're in this business, right? We talk about all this other stuff, but our core business is to win baseball games. And yeah, the excitement, you know, what we got to do, you know, it's fragile. We've talked about this a little bit. We got in by one game, right? And I think it's been talked about we were down, 8-1 to Seattle. We came back and beat them, and, you know, they'd had the tiebreaker against us had they won that game. So it's, you know, the margins are thin. But no, winning is what, you know, JJ likes to say. I mean, we're in the entertainment business, right? And winning is entertaining in this business for sure.
John?
I know you don't know specifics yet, John, when it comes to a new stadium, but do you have an idea, funding-wise, how much of the stadium you would like for to be publicly funded, and how much of it you would like to be privately funded?
You know, I think that kind of depends on I expect that we'll have a good public partner. I would expect that we will be a very large investor in both the stadium and certainly around it. But, you know, that's a hard question to answer right now, just because of the status of the negotiations with multiple parties.
And the speculation that you talked about before you open it up for Sam to talk to reporters to ask you questions, are you talking about the Asteria news release that came out yesterday saying that they are not in discussions with you guys about you guys building your ballpark at 100?
You know, I think that was one of the things that came out in the last few days, but there have been more than that. that and some other things. I'm just talking about that whole kind of category that's been in the news over the last 3-4 days. Hesperia being one of them.
Cool. We good? All right. Thanks, John.
Thank you. Where's Salvi?
He's gone.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Just go with 10 minutes if you can.
Second career.
What, Harold? Substance abuse this time around. Reaffirmed. I know.
Like, remember last year, wearing coats?
Yes, I forgot that. Yeah.
Along with,
Oh, yeah, there it is.
My boyfriend didn't return a library book when he was 14, and it affected his credit score when he was 22.
No, that's not.
I wish I was joking.
It doesn't have granular.
that's the story she tells. That really happened. He stole the
His
books
identity.
from his first job.
There it is. Isn't that hilarious? Yeah.
Something else is going on there,
No, I swear to God.
Yeah.
And it was it was a book about Catholic saints.
The other thing is,
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't want to get
That's
into
the thing that I usually take.
because you don't want to stigmatize.
Yeah, we were gonna buy a house.
Be careful with all things.
Yeah, we were gonna buy a house, but then there was.
Return a library book.
2015, so.
I like it.
Yeah.
I can do now.
I can't do that, so.
The wife may have a say in it or something.
I think.
No, I mean physically, I'm not capable. It would, maybe by the trade deadline.
because Nick is radio, audio, it was great.
Oh, yeah.
Everything. So we would hear everything. So you didn't
Yeah, I was gonna say, probably doesn't. I don't think it does pretty okay on ours.
Somebody was paying attention.
I use that sound sharp runs and then, yeah, I use that sort of, whoever was either Stu.
We didn't really get JCTV in Surprise. Signal didn't go that far. Yeah.
Actually, thanks to our internet, you can watch. I don't think, you know what, though, we couldn't run baseball.
Well, yeah, right, because of streaming rights, yeah.
We do have a station out there. KPNG, the CBS station.
Okay.
I think it's CBS.
Okay.
I was out there walking through the woods. RSTN. 2 weeks. I was doing radio at 6:10 during the day, and then we do television at night. And there was one night they tried to hit.
Hey guys. Quit Hazel. Let 'em.
All
Oh, Dios mío. Sonny, hey guys. Wow. Feel like yesterday. Hi, Annie, how are you?
How are you?
Amazing, excited.
Yeah, how excited are you? to start
Good,
this
like the
early?
first one.
Can
Every-
you compare the two? I mean, what does, you remember your first opening day versus
Yeah.
this one? What are the differences?
Just saying, I'm just getting old, that's it. I feel the same. You know, excited. I always say that first game of the season feel like the World Series. You know, 7 games the World Series. Everybody just waited for the first game. Base was back. Excited to be here in Kansas City, you know, for the fans, for everything. So feel pretty good to know that tomorrow is going to be the first game of the season.
How do you feel like the fans have rallied behind you guys again, coming off of last year and everything you guys have done?
Maybe some fans going to get mad, but I think we have the best fan in baseball. So that's the way that I feel. I think we got plenty support for our fans. That's why we come in here every day and play hard and give everything we have for the fans.
So, what did you notice just about the way you guys left last season? I mean, it seemed like walking to the clubhouse, you guys weren't content with what you accomplished last year, even though it was a major improvement. What did you just notice among the feeling among teammates and stuff?
The new team that we have, the new players,
Or just even the existing guys who experienced last year, like what was the feeling?
and playoff. You know, I think I always said that everything want to be in playoff. You know, and I think we kind of was more excited for us. You know, I know we got young group and that clubhouse right there, but just to play in playoff, to to test that how happy or how fun it is to play in playoff. I think it was pretty good. Honestly, Uganda, I think we're better. We're better than last year, you know. And I always said that if you don't have that kind of mentality, they try to make it, to a playoff and try to win the World Series. I think we're in the wrong sport, you know. That's the kind of mentality we have to have from the first game, from the first spin training, for the first game of spin training, you know. Always thinking that we're gonna make it to a playoff, and always thinking that we're gonna win everything.
Salvi, now that you guys are in year 3 with Hugh as the manager, what's it just been like with him guiding you guys day in and day out, and what have you really learned from him?
I learned to be calm, like calm down a little bit. It's the best. Yeah, it's I never see a guy that he's the same guy. No matter if we win for 10 rounds or we lose for 10 rounds, he's always the same every day. You know, and I think as a player, it's kind of hard, to be like him. But a smart guy, it's key. He have a good relationship with every player. So I think it's kind of hard to do it, We're super excited to have him as a manager. He let his coaches work, so that's pretty good.
Front row, far left.
¿Qué pasó, amigo?
How you doing?
Amazing.
You're the lone warrior back from
You want to say, oh, huh?
you're the old guy back from 2014 and 2015. There were some down times, and you were the guy that was always there. You were always the backbone. You were, the leader of the team, leader in the community. Just how special is it for you to be rewarded and be a big part of that award by what happened last year?
Amazing, That was awesome. Last year was great experience, especially for the young guy. Now they come 7, they got some different mentality for this year. Even in spring training, as a group, we're just talking about making it to a playoff. And 2 years ago, this year was, hey, let's try to win the World Series. That's the kind of mentality. That's what playoffs made you think about it. Now that we make it to a playoff, now it's try to win everything. So yeah, we're part of that. 2014 and 15, I think one of my best 2 years I ever have. Win the World Series, amazing. But now hopefully we can do it again here.
Hey, Sal.
What's up, amigo?
Hey, man.
what are we now, year 14, I think it is, and, you know, you've obviously taken care of your body throughout the year to get this far, but what are you doing and the steps you're taking to make sure you get yourself through 162 and
Work, baby, work, work and work, and keep working. Yeah, it's gonna happen. I really challenge all you guys know him, you know. And first, when I had to meet Alex Gordon, I think in 2011, I get to the clubhouse at 6 in the morning, spin training, and I saw Alex Gordon coming from the gym, sweating, like he was working at 6 a.m. in the morning. So I just talked to myself, like, what kind of player you want to be? Alex Gordon, he was rich by that time already. He don't have to do it, but just that's why he's going to be a Hall of Fame, you know? So I just tell myself what kind of player you want to be. So when Alex retired, I tell Alex, hey, I'm going to miss you. Thank you for everything. I learned a lot of things from you. So I become best friend with Aroli Changma. You guys know him. So be available to work with him. I know he's a pitcher. It's kind of different. But just the way he takes care of his body every day, and that's why he still throw 102, 101, you know? So that's it. He made me think about it. Like, okay, for how long you want to play? Are you going to let people tell you, like, hey, you won't play for a long time, when you're going to retire? Or you want to play to 40, 42, if you can play to 42, you know? So that's the kind of motivation I have every year. That's what I do in the off-season. Last year, after the last game, I get back to Miami in 2 days, and Aroli Chama called me, like, what are you doing? Like, bro, I just finished 2 days ago. What is that mean? Okay, you're done. Just start to prepare yourself for 2025. So 2 days later, we're working out with him. You know, that's kind of motivation you have to have in your mind if you want to be longer in this game. That's the way I prepare myself. Sounds easy, but it's kind of hard.
Hey, Salvi. Welcome home. When you say opening day feels like the World Series, what makes it feel so exciting? What are the things that you feel inside that make it so thrilling?
I think just step to that field and see all the crowd, you know. It's going to be full tomorrow. The way we prepare, you know, like all the players, you know, it's exciting. It's like playing the World Series. And yeah, you see the fans. I think it's going to be an amazing day tomorrow.
So you won't be nervous, but you'll be excited, or you'll be nervous?
If I don't feel that in my belly a little bit before the game, I think I'm going to be retired. So I still feel that even in spring training. It's not about to be scared, it's just excited. It's not about to be nervous. It's the way that I love this game, you know, made me feel that each game, as soon as I catch the first pitch, it's a normal game. But if you don't have that before, I think you're in the wrong sport.
Hey, Salvi. I think you saw that MLB shared some pictures of some of the veterans around the game, their first year in the league, and then what they're
I look terrible now, but
I'm curious what you thought of your side by side, but in particular, you know, you look at some of those other veterans and they're in different jerseys now than they were then. You're in the same jersey, and I wonder how much pride you take in the fact that your entire career has been with the Royals and seeing yourself then and now still here.
First, yeah, just saying one thing, you know, is I feel like I'm home here. I love the city, I love the fan, I love my teammate. You know, I feel at home, you know. Hopefully I can stay here for the rest of my career. I understand it's a business too. I understand the process, but, you know, we go see, you know, day by day. And second, I feel like Salvi for 2025, Salvi from 2011. Wow. Hey. I was so skinny, oh my God. I almost got me obese. What are you guys doing?
So you mentioned working out to play to, if you want to play to your 40 or 42, is that a target of yours? Do you think about how long you want to play?
I want to play too much as I can. You know why? Because as soon as I get out from that field, baseball never gonna get back. I never gonna play again. So we're gonna take most opportunity I can to be in that field, you know. Yeah, if I can play to 40, 42, it's a bless, you know. Hopefully God can keep me healthy, you know. I know it's a lot of sacrifice with my family, my kid, my dad. They just tell me, Papa, when you're going to stay home? Dad, when you're going to stay home? Well, you have to leave again, you know. It's kind of hard, but I just tell my family that the little thing that we have in this life is because baseball, you know, because the sacrifice that I put it on to give everything to my family. So I'm going to play to, like, you know, maybe 5, 6, 7 more years. Whatever I can to play, I'm going to play as long as I can.
Last one, back row, far right.
Hey, Salvi. Good to see you. With all your experience, what do you say to a guy like Cole Reagan who's getting a nod for a second consecutive opening day?
Don't be scared. Nah, he's kidding. He's prepared. He's good. He's going to be calm. He's, you know, it's not because I have hanging here in my team. He approved that he's one of the best lefty in the league. So when you got a guy like Hang, it's easy, you know. Follow the plan, see how the game going. I think it's gonna be good. And soon he's gonna win aside young guys. He's good.
Thanks, Phil.
No problem, amigos. Have a good day. Enjoy opening day.
Hey Cole.
How's it going?
You have mentioned on occasion that you keep a notebook of all your starts from the last 4 years. So I just was wondering, how often do you go back towards that in preparation for opening day, and what all goes into just being locked in and prepared for a moment such as this tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I travel with. I have my notebook for this year and stuff like that, but I travel with the notes from last year just because it's the most recent. So, you know, if I just have something that I'm kind of iffy on, you know, kind of got a question about it, I'll go back and look, just see, you know, all right, I threw well this outing. Like, what did I throw this guy? Like, what worked? And, you know, kind of go from there. You know, obviously brainstorming with Sal or Freddie and Sweeney. Also, you know, they've done their homework as well. So just kind of all of us, you know, putting our minds together and seeing what happens.
Cool, front row, far left.
Cole Salvi was just talking about, you know, he just has that feeling on opening day that when he loses that feeling, it's time to retire. You have that feeling?
Man, I get nervous. I get nervous for every start, but opening day's special. You know, I think everybody's excited. You know, we're walking in today, and everybody's like, man, it feels good to be back here. So it's just super exciting. You know, the first time getting back out on the field, seeing all the fans. You know, this place is going to be packed. It's going to be loud. I think that's what, you know. It's just back on the field and you know, with all the boys, it's exciting.
Last year came so close. Does that momentum, does that confidence carry over to this year?
100%. I mean, obviously we got left with a bad taste in our mouth, so it kind of fueled our off season. You know, we know what it takes. We know what it feels like to be in the postseason, and you know, it's kind of been our motto, you know, all year last year, is take it day by day, and I think that's what we're going to do again this year. Is, you know, we can't worry about what's going to happen in September and October right now. We're going to worry about what's going to happen tomorrow, and then the next day we'll worry about that game, and you know, go from there.
Hey, Cole, what have you liked most about your spring preparations and your mix of pitches that you've talked about so much over the course of your career? What do you like about it most heading into opening day?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, been working on some stuff. But I think the biggest thing is I thought my command was a little better this spring. Obviously, numbers are a little deceiving at times, but I thought the command was good. I left spring training, I felt really good. Body feels like it's in a really good spot, and pitches are doing what it wants. So now it's just, you know, stick with the command stuff, and you know, now we got a little more, you know, data and stuff to go into the game with. So now it's just, you know, trust Sal, trust Freddie, and execute.
Is there a particular pitch you were trying to work on?
The biggest thing was the slider. Kind of, you know, it was really good in 23 when I got over here. Last year it was kind of hit or miss. So this off season, you know, watched some video from bullpens and stuff like that in 2023, and then kind of figured out the grip again. And now it's just to command it. Being able to have the feel to throw it for a strike when I want and take it out of the zone and throw it for try to get some chase on it when I want.
Cole, is there anything you talked about the fuel you guys had in the offseason? Is there any memory you looked back on during the offseason from that playoff season, that last game?
Oh man, I mean, sweeping in Baltimore obviously is just popping champagne with the guys after that was that's special. That's what you dream about as a kid. Just getting to do it with this group of guys, we're all so close that it's, everybody's pulling for everyone. So getting to celebrate like that with those guys is just, that's things you'll never forget.
But you talked about fueled you. Is that what fueled you getting more champagne celebration?
Oh, I mean, the end goal is to win the World Series. That's, it's plain and simple. So we didn't win the World Series. So now it's, take that bad taste, learn from where we made our mistakes, and, get better at it and go from there.
Anyone else?
I can post so much.
Yeah, that Instagram post was like 10 different sets of players.
Yeah, so it was like a gallery.
Mm-hmm.
I post like 17 times a day. Which I guess.
Done 3. How about that? I'll be done at 3.
Found the thread?
Yeah.
Okay.
All done.
What was it?
You're not wrong.
But his impulse was to go ahead and eat him.
I told Jeff did a presentation.
Post game love? Hayward.
Well, they want me to shot on the catch. Yeah, takeaways.
Terrible. There's nothing to do with steroids.
I just really the team and all that. No,
Like Andy McCullough used to do the Steelers videos. Is that what he said?
Is that what he said?
He said it's exactly a serial version of me ate that year. It's amazing.
So good. It's good to see you.
Hi, friends. For a minute.
It's good to see you.
And paraphrase the quote, I'm not quite sure how he said it, but it was, this Selby would eat that Selby.
Just now.
So skinny.
Yeah.
Just massage it. Crazy.
I think you should.
There was a Super Bowl.
Well, you guys are.
That was messy.
That's great.
First player.
Yeah,
There you go. You just give me the box score.
How'd you ever use that for your
Oh
post game
man,
show,
that's
huh?
pretty. No, that's over. What'd you say? Kansas City.
I was on the post.
Saturday evening tussle with
Give
Mercy.
him a call, probably.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I picked him to win people want.
Or how about what you
Yeah. It's like watching Alabama play.
Right, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the one, like, what?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but not.
Scores are.
Wow. There's so much better to
It's actually Danny playing in Walmart.
Hey, we had a 3, only was 103.
Yeah.
His briefcase.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one
It was like 34-5 at the end of the first quarter again. I was like, oh my god.
What? No, no. Like, why?
It happened to me in high school. We
impulse
played
to say
so
that.
funny.
Just that anything.
There's first seven.
Way more effective for pictures.
First quarter, and they're like, "Here's our fourth string," and they're still gonna be with trash.
Sweet. Lemon pepper?
You guys going on?
I didn't know that was his. Because that's the best kind. I just like that they're not salty to where that's.
Yeah, I remember. We went to Wichita.
Oh, yeah.
Which ones do we have high? The one we can do that.
Say that again? Yeah, lemon pepper.
Why? Just his neck serves?
It was fine. Savory, but not great.
I was like, what's up? We should have drove down today. It would have been a long day. We could have at least done that. So that's why I didn't take demanding to take hits from something we would never do. It's hard to do. That's the case.
You can't still so sad. Decide
I couldn't completely explain it right since I saw you.
It's on the ground. Someone dropped it.
No, it's still. Yeah, but I'm giving it back to
It's down
him.
here.
I never know anything. That's a little.
I didn't think to look at it. I didn't think it was his name to be on it. We need to get these out.
Yeah, you spent all that time. Where's yours?
Wow. I'm gonna get some. We need to ask him where to order them.
They lost in the time. They triple overtime.
Goes to.
Hold on, but who deserves that back?
I was in San Diego State. But it was we're one man league, so if you don't mind.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine who used to Colorado State alone, but he was barely turned on for my own team. I was like, wait up. I was like, she was there. That's where she's like, I'm watching the game at this school.
Yeah. Yeah, they weren't bad this season.
We got to watch maybe the game was play. Yeah, championship a couple years ago.
Hey. Good. Hey. Hey.
Do you have an update on Vinny, his status for tomorrow?
Who? No. I'm just
You're not gonna start this way?
He's fine right now. I mean, he's going to go through the full workout today. He's going to run, hit, throw, take ground balls, and then we're going to reevaluate, after the workout. But again, in the morning, because even if he comes out of it good today, we're going to have to see how he comes in tomorrow.
You seem pretty optimistic though throughout the week that he's going to be okay. Has that changed at all?
No, I mean, I was optimistic based on his, his reaction to the whole thing. So hopefully that holds through today. All right, see you guys. Jeez.
Matt, I mean, opening day is its own thing to everybody, but how do you process it? I know you're not necessarily one for all the pomp and circumstance, but I'm sure you enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, more than anything, I'm grateful to be a part of it, and whether that's a major league opening day or a minor league opening day, like just taking it in and understanding that this is a pretty cool job to have. Any part of this operation is a cool job to have, and I feel very fortunate to be in the position I'm in, and to open at home. This is the third straight year opening at home, and that's really cool, and I'm really looking forward to the crowd, and that part of it I really do enjoy. The other parts of it, once the game starts, you got to be ready to go. So it's enjoy it at the beginning and then get into your routine so you're doing what you need to do to win.
And your mind is always engaged in that, but do you have any sense of how different it might feel starting tomorrow versus starting last year at a time where you guys were having hopes but hadn't really demonstrated anything yet versus where you are now?
I haven't thought about it that way at all. Yeah, that's a good question. I can't really give you a good, because I have not thought about, is it going to be a different feeling this year from last year? I think, it was a packed house last year and everybody wanted us to win that game last year too. And that's really what our focus is. So, I'm not going to think of it, well, we need to do this to achieve something, because it is one game out of the 162.
Along those lines, one last thing is just, I haven't seen anything indicate otherwise, but are you using today again this year, or are you coming in with something else?
I am not. I don't have new slogans teed up for you, Vahe. Yeah. I mean, we are going to play today. I mean, that's going to be that's our goal, right? And I think that's the best way to go about life in general, let alone baseball. But yeah, I mean, we've talked about this a lot. We can talk about this is a tough stretch of games, or this is an easy stretch of games, or how many games you have to win, and none of that matters, right? Unless you take care of today.
See how I said that too, like no slogans teed up.
Oh, jeez. Holy smokes.
Q, this is the second straight year that Cole's your opening day starter. I'm curious now, in the last really 2.5 years, what you've learned about him as a pitcher and as a person.
A lot. I didn't know anything about him when we got him, so start there, and his competitiveness, his preparation, his desire to be great are off the charts. Then you factor in his stuff and his pitchability, and what he can do with a baseball is incredible as well. So we're really fortunate to have him. I think every team in the league would love to have him as their opening day starter, and we're really fortunate that he's with us.
Thank you.
Hey.
When it comes to Jonathan India leading off, how have you seen him affect the whole, just the batting rotation, and giving the guys behind him some good eyes to look at?
Yeah, I mean, he was remarkable this spring. We were confident in what we were acquiring when we traded a really good pitcher for him, and to acquire him, but then to see him do what he did in the spring. He didn't chase. He swung at strikes. He hit the ball hard. He's ultra competitive. He wants to win. Everything that we could have hoped for materialized in the spring, and obviously we hope that continues in the season. But everything was great in the spring.
Hey. We talked a lot about the mentality of the group coming into spring training, knowing that they have more they want to accomplish after last year. Was there any moment just during the spring where you're like, these guys just seem really locked in on that emotion and that goal? And how's that kind of permeated throughout the locker room?
Well, I would think more so than in the spring. I felt it in the off season. We had a couple Zoom calls as a team, and in the individual calls with players, and as different staff visited with players, it was very clear. They weren't taking anything for granted. They weren't resting on what we accomplished last year, because at the end of the day, that just wasn't good enough. Now, look, we have to go achieve things again. Nothing's guaranteed to us just because we did it last year. There's a lot of teams that want to be in the playoffs. So, but as far as their focus and their determination, that's there. We don't have to worry about that.
Hi.
Hey.
When you came to Kansas City and we chatted, I think you had expectations of just playing better baseball at the time. But now, after last season, has that changed? Are you setting higher expectations as a team, or are those things you guys talk about?
Sure. I mean, we're trying to, we do it in increments, right? I mean, you're trying to make goals of being the best prepared team you can be, whether that's physically, mentally, scouting reports, all those kinds of things, competing better than anybody else on every given night. Your goal is to win every night, and then compounding win after win. Our goal is to win the division and to win the World Series. So we set those goals. They're clear in our minds. They're clear in the clubhouse, and there's a lot of steps between A and Z, but we lay that out ahead of time for sure.
Cool. We good? Thanks, Q. Oh wait, you're up.
Manager Q, on that, do you like starting with the division team?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think these guys beat us. They beat us by 6 or 7 games last year, right? And they're the standard of the division. We have to play up to their standard and exceed that in order to win the division. And that's, there's other teams that are clearly squarely in the mix, but at the same time, why not put yourself up against a team that won the division last year, and let's tee it up.
Sweet. Thanks, guys.
All right. You want to give us your lineup for tomorrow?
Well, the what?
The lineup?
Guys, one thing real quick. There's some handouts in the back. I know there's been a lot of questions about how to watch the games and some different things we got going on in the stadium.